Grizzly Man. He's made Into the Abyss. He's made a bunch of other ones. He plays the character who puts the bounty out for the Baby Yoda when we don't know what the Baby Yoda is. But he has
we just know that it's the mark or whatever they said.
He has
what they're
scenes.
supposed to
So
acquisition.
this is a true story from the making of The Mandalorian. So basically, the makers of The Mandalorian didn't have strong faith in this Baby Yoda puppet. So the judgment of Werner Herzog, the imperious German film worker turned galactic space villain, turned Baby Yoda fan club president, when he saw the Mandalorian creator and showrunner Jon Favreau and executive producer Dave Filoni removing the miniature creature from set during one of his scenes while with the bean. They were preparing to shoot a blank slate of the sequence as a backup in case they decided during post-production that the puppet wasn't convincing enough as a digital version had to be substituted. So basically the executive producer and the directors and everything were shooting all double scenes with the puppet and without the puppet because they wanted to do CGI. And Werner Herzog, known for films about pushing the limits of human ability and endurance, could not hide his contempt. And he said to him, "You are cowards," he declared. "Leave it." Because Werner Herzog knew that this Baby Yoda was going to be like the biggest deal. It was going to turn into this huge thing.
Oh, yes.
Which it instantly did. Like, I watched Mandalorian almost instantly. I got Disney Plus when it first came out because my kids wanted it because it has all their shows they watched when they were little. Mm-hmm. And they're rewatching all the Disney shows and the cartoons and everything. And I was like, oh, well, this looks pretty cool. Mandalorian. I hadn't really heard anything about it. I thought, well, this might be kind of nice, kind of like a high level, Star Wars version of Game of Thrones. I got done with the first episode. Baby Yoda was shown. I was like, I was gagged. I was like, oh my God, that's what this is about? That's what there's a Baby Yoda? And then, of course, because they had no spoilers, they had kept it on the low. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew about it. Apparently not even their marketing people or any of their merchandising people, because as people are finding out now, there are going to be no Baby Yoda toys for holiday 2020.
No, and everybody wants one. Like, the most thing that came out was like a screen printed T-shirt, like real quick. Like,
all they
can
did
make in,
was
like, a
take
basement.
the original concept art, take one image, and slap it on some things.
Well, you know who missed out for promotions? It's J-Lo, because had she known about Baby Yoda and gotten on board, she could have done something like Baby J-Loda. See, a collab. We now live in the age of collabs.
So it's been huge. I mean, there's constantly tweets. I know friends of mine who are big Twitter people that hate Star Wars, that now love Baby Yoda,
right?
And are
Baby
watching
Yoda is
Star Wars for the very
it.
first time. And the other thing that's great about this is, what's the new Star Wars going to be called? Return of Skywalker.
I think that's what it is.
Skywalker. That was the end of Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
We'll look that
it's either the beginning or the end of Skywalker.
Yeah. Skywalker.
While you're doing that, can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
So we talked before the show, like, I have not seen Mandalorian. I'm generally familiar with all the Star Wars, and of course I grew up in the age of the original Star Wars movies. Yeah. Okay, but because I don't know about the Mandalorian.
The Rise of Starwalker.
There we go.
Yeah. That immediately set me down, as it always does when I don't know something, down a rabbit hole.
So what did you watch?
So I jumped down the Baby Yoda rabbit hole.
You didn't know what a Baby Yoda was?
No. Not
till you were like Laura Dern?
Yeah. Well, okay.
I still think I could still go back to Laura Dern because she's been in the Star Wars movie.
It doesn't matter. She might just be not up, because this has only been since about Thanksgiving.
I think that she just got that guy was dumb and just said something dumb back. Okay. But go ahead.
So here's the rabbit hole. All right. So Baby Yoda, they say, is scientifically designed to make us fall in love with him. That his cuteness triggers the brain's neural reward system, its baby schema, and that that a part of that schema is his huge eyes, his tiny nose, his big head, and his small chin. They're infantile looking, which we're pre-programmed to respond to because they trigger a caretaking response.
But he also looks like Yoda.
He does.
And we all love Yoda.
We all love Yoda.
Right? We know, and he's like, Yoda's part of the zeitgeist of
I have my do or do not.
I mean, I guess he could be scientifically designed to make us love him, but he also could be scientifically designed just to look like a Baby Yoda.
I think he was. I think it's the Baby Yoda schema is a smart marketing move. They haven't gotten there yet, but I think they will.
Well, eventually, when they do make Baby Yodas, we're all going to go buy Baby Yodas, just like I bought all the other baby things that were out there. Baby Yoda's going to be a pop figure. Baby Yoda's going to come so next year we'll be all about Baby Yoda, because Baby Yoda is one of those things that I will wait. When it appears, I will get it, kind of thing. So if Baby Yoda hadn't actually been in a show and they just made Baby Yoda toys, we would have bought Baby Yoda anyway.
Absolutely.
If they were like, yeah.
The show is great, though, and the story, and if you know what a Mandalorian is and how Mandalorian culture works, the Mandalorians are almost all orphans. Like the Mandalorian himself, his parents were killed. He was taken in by the Mandalorians.
Right.
They don't really have their own children, but they can want to take a child in if they see, like, strength and fighting ability, which this Baby Yoda proved to him. So the whole thing, you just get so swept in, and it is emotional beyond the scientific fact that a Baby Yoda would just be designed to make us want to like it.
Maybe that's what the whole race is, because we kind of don't know about the Yoda race. But old Yoda was cool. Maybe that's their strategy. I'm giving Star Wars. I know this is not canon, so stop yelling at everybody. Everybody who listens to my other geek podcast who's yelling now that I'm like, that's not canon. That would be interesting if it really turned out that the schema was in general. It was just if it was a social engineering for their entire race, is that they were all just created to be adorable.
Well, because the baby's 50 years old,
right?
So that's a long time to be a baby. So they would want to look really cute to get protected,
right?
Absolutely.
So that's a really smart strategy.
Well, talk about the geeks, and maybe you will have this. And I consider myself a geek, not a nerd. But over Thanksgiving, I was with my nephews, my sister's children, and they're like 19 and 16, and they were so mad at me for calling it a Baby Yoda because it's technically not Yoda.
Right.
And they're like, I can't believe all those normies out there are sitting there calling Baby Yoda normies. Yeah. And I'm like, look, you guys, Twitter's decided, the memes are out there, the internet's calling it. They're like, who cares what the internet says? They don't know. And I'm like, get yourself some Twitter accounts.
And stop gatekeeping the fandom. So learn that young, please. Please don't grow up and be that person.
Oh my God. They were just completely like rolling their eyes and freaking out that everybody calls it a Baby Yoda and calling everybody normies. I'm like, get over yourselves,
Well, they think
please.
I'm a super normie because until you guys hit me to the Mandalorian, I thought that was an instrument, like a form of maybe a form of accordion.
Yeah, you're not even on their radar.
Like, it's like a mandolin, but not.
But yeah, I'm the kind of fan. That's why I am a geek, not a nerd. I am definitely not hardcore enough to get any respect from those kinds of people.
And I dabble. And here's the thing, and I can get their respect and have chosen not to care, because I do feel like the gatekeeping, you know what it does? It shrinks and murders fandoms.
Yes.
Because you kind of have to figure out a way that we can bring people in. And I know, growing up and knowing that not everybody wanted to talk about the things that I liked, and just thought that I was like wasting their time with certain conversations. And now the fact that I can talk to you about it, Judy and Samantha, you were like, oh, I care enough, I want to talk to you, instead of just being, because you stop.
You want to watch it now.
I do totally want to watch it.
And so I think that you want to figure out a way to grow the fandoms, not gatekeep everybody away.
No.
And then it's also a way that we can like get rid of. I'm never going to pick on somebody who maybe misquotes something a little bit about something I love. I want them to love it too. And then you know what we get? Bigger budgets and better products.
Yep,
so
right.
Everybody is allowed to like it. Come join us. And Samantha, you can share Judy's Disney Plus password. We'll get you on board. I think you'll like this show. It's because that's stealing. We don't want to act about that. So, our final segment today, Excuse Me, Sir. Excuse Me, Sir, where we share some of our online dating stories, mostly because Samantha is successfully relationship and likes to hear our stories. So just to bring everybody up to speed again, when we were talking about our online dating things for a while, we currently are primarily app-based. So Judy is currently on Bumble.
Just Bumble.
Oh, did you give up on Facebook dating? Did you even have to take that dumpster fire?
I just stopped because I wasn't using it, and it's all crazy.
Okay, so Judy is on Bumble. I am still on Bumble and Tinder, and so here's the thing: is that we were talking about our profiles because we had updated them recently, like just a little bit, and because we spent a lot of time looking at other profiles and wondering how people decide what they're going to do. And one of the conversations that Judy and I had, Sam, where we were talking about, do you judge people based upon the words they put in their profile? Like, I won't even if I think you have cute pictures, if you didn't bother to write something, then I won't try and match with you, even if I'm like, oh, okay. Just if you clicked the boxes that said, okay, they're liberal, they're Sagittarius, or this, and that stuff technically matches me. If they didn't bother to write at least 3 or 4 sentences of some type, then I just go automatically, you're not tapped in on this. I don't want to do it. So, but there's things that we read in other people's profiles that, although it doesn't apply to me, I still consider a turnoff. And so, like, when I read somebody that writes something negative, like, I just made me understand that I don't only go by what they write, I go by their tone and their tenor.
Have you heard my zombie apocalypse profile lately?
No, go ahead, Judy.
Okay, this is what mine says right now. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, I'd immediately seek them out and get myself turned and quickly become the leader of the zombie race. I've been low-key preparing for this my whole life.
Now, if you were someone that I was matching with, I would think you were funny and immediately swipe left and not match you because I'm all like, you don't really want to do this. And so I wouldn't try.
I do not really want to do this.
That clearly gives off, I don't really want to do this vibe. And so I think that there's some people who you can tell that they're trying to be clever and attention getting, but that goes to the point of, they don't really want to do this, kind of thing. They want to just get attention or be funny, and so I wouldn't try and match with them. I like in between, where they go.
And
okay.
I kind of probably don't. I think I have my profile more up right now because I look sometimes because we're on the show.
Yes,
and I do this thing where I did this a couple weeks ago where I went on one Saturday and I matched with a bunch of people and I talked to them. And then I did not go on again.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm mentally in the headspace for wanting to go on dates or really date anybody. I'm not in the mood for a relationship. So I guess what I would say to people is, sometimes if that happens to you and somebody matches with you and then doesn't talk back to you or something, and maybe look at the profile too. Some people on there are kind of on there because they're maybe going to go on a date or maybe on there just to check it out, but their head's not really in it, and the profile might give it away. Mine being example exhibit A.
Yeah, and we were talking about that because when you go on this, it's still very exposing, and I think people are in different parts of the journey. And so it's very difficult sometimes to sit there and not have it, not internalize the process and not sit there and go, this, why don't they like me? Not do that. And I think it's good to have this conversation because that's the case. It's not always you. And you kind of sit there and go, well, how come they're not responding? How come they didn't do that? And sometimes
they're just not into it. That I'm not that. And we all know me. I'm willing to be honest about myself. Yeah, I don't know. And it's not even the fact that it's, I don't want to be negative about the people online dating. I don't even want to be negative about the platforms. I think it really is just, I've had a lot going on. My daughter hasn't been well.
Right.
That's really a lot for me. I like to be focused on my job right now and some other things. And in this work, and I call it work, you have to sit and message with these people and be present and then go and see them and then spend time with them away from other things you're doing. And
sometimes you're just not tapped into that space.
I'm not tapped into it. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with a lot of other things. I'm pretty busy with 2 teenagers. I have this I do with you guys, which is really fulfilling. And I have a lot of other friends and I have a good family. And I'm not really chomping at the bit to add a new person in, I guess.
And I think that you can kind of start to kind of read through and see who's in a similar place as you.
Right.
And so it is a matter of going, because you do all have those moments where you go, okay, here's the amount of bandwidth I have in my life. What would it take for somebody to be someone that I would want to make space for? Yeah. And so I think that there's a lot of people who are still very comfortable like Judy, but leave it out there because you're like, well, if this shining star popped up, maybe I would change my mind. So you look every once in a while. It's because you go, it's not the answer is absolutely no. It just has to be such a perfect thing that it's almost difficult right now. So it just makes you get very
Well, and I could change-
very laser focused on what you're looking for.
I could change my mind about dating, and then I'd still have my profile there, and I
Right.
could change a few things, could take the zombie apocalypse
Right.
stuff down or whatever.
So, have either of you ever encountered